We are rising up like the phoenix from the fire. Brothers and sisters, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up like the phoenix from the fire. Brothers and sisters, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the Lord. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the Lord. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening.
All right, peace and black power family. Welcome to another Sarnetta TV House of Consciousness production. You already know what it is. You see my co-host in the building, Queen Nepal Shada. And of course, we are here with the legend, JoJo Capone in the building. And we are here at LAX. That's right, we are here in California. And so we're going to get together and have a nice, powerful build with my brother JoJo Capone. Without any further ado, I now pass it off to Nepal Shada.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. Yeah, peace and black power family. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Capone. You know, you are world-renowned. Everyone knows we call you a legend, so I'm so happy you're here with us today. I'd like just to have you start out telling us a little bit about your history and where you grew up and, you know, what made you the man that you are today.
Well, basically born in Chicago.
Well, he doesn't have to.
Okay, basically born in Chicago, raised in New York, LA, Puerto Rico, and Miami. I think maybe because of that, as an early age, had me thriving to want to see the rest of the world. Right. Because actually in the projects as a kid, we had this world map on the wall. Okay. So, you know, I used to sit the opposite way on the couch with my feet on the wall, but the map was right there. Wow. So I used to just say, like,
how old were you? I'm sorry.
I don't know how old I was. I just know that I used to say, I'm going to all them places. And actually, I've been to, I would say, 95% of the places in the world. So leaving out, let me see, six continents I'm covering now. I got one more, which is Antarctica. I wanted to do that this year, but COVID tripping. Right. So that'll be my next hit, Antarctica, and I covered the 7 continents. And 196 countries. I'm over 147. Wow. And the other ones, like, I don't really care to go. You know, I don't want to say which ones because I know I have people from all over that check in with me, so I don't want to make it like I'm dissing their country. So, you know, but I don't care to go to them other ones, the remainders. And if I get bored, I probably will start checking them off.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So let me ask, if I may ask you, you said when you were a boy, you were in the projects, looking at that world map. What was life like growing up in the projects as a young child?
You know what? It was like fun, adventurous. You know, it was the smaller things today, like playing in the fire hydrant, running up and down the project stairs, because we had 16 stories in our projects. So running up and down the steps on each end, like 16 or probably probably like 1,600 apartments. So that's a huge, enormous amount of people. Mm-hmm. So just so you know, you never feel alone because there's always something going on and somebody, and you gravitate to probably the people from school or in your classroom, and if they live in your building. So that's how you start basically, besides whoever living in your household, to have somebody outside your household to go play, at their house or whatever, if you was allowed to do that. Because for me, my mother, she didn't let us spend nights out. Like, people can come to our house, but she ain't trust nobody with us. So,
She sounds like she was very old-fashioned.
Yeah, she wasn't playing that. Spend a night, you was talking Chinese to her, saying spend a night somewhere.
Right. So when I hear you talk about your life growing up in the projects, it seems like it was positive for you. A lot of times we hear, a lot of negativity. Was it mostly positive, or were there some hardships that you would like to share with us?
I mean, I embrace the ghetto. When you hear people say, oh, that's so ghetto, and I correct everybody and say, what's wrong with that? You know what? Why do you use the term ghetto to be negative? You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people came from the ghetto and prospered, but nobody shed light on that part. So I never shy away from to say where I came from, because then you'll never know where you're going. So your motivation for a child in the ghetto or the poverty-stricken areas, you're going to get your motivation from there. Seeing, like, whatever you witness, and if you're seeing shooting and killing, you don't want to be around that. So that can make you stay on the right track, get jobs, or be an entrepreneur and move out of there. Now, some people, it's just normal to them and scared to leave there because that's all they know. So, like, with the gentrification, it's still a culture shock for a lot of people today, because it's like they ripped all the projects down and people just scattered out throughout the city, and it kind of lost. Some found their way and some kind of lost, like, this is not what they're used to.
Mr. Capone, when you say they're lost, what do you mean? Like, they're literally just out roaming around, or just they don't know how to connect?
It's a slow process of connecting with their newfound home. Meaning, when they did the gentrification, it was like 70% working class and 30% under the work pay, which was like Section 8 people. Right. They kept them. You see what I'm saying? So but look at the gap of that, 70 to 30. Yeah. So it'll kind of make a person feel uncomfortable, because that's a big step. Yeah. The floors, the grass, and everything is well manicured now, and they was used to spray paint, broken glass, bottles of junk, which I applaud the upliftment of the community with changing the look of it to change the mind frame. Because once you get settled into, like, if you just look at something and it look like extravagant or good, you want to let it remain that way. But then you got some people that it look out of place to them, and they'll spray paint all over this spot. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you can ride past them old neighborhoods just to recollect on your memories, but it's like everything gone. So you might have the park still there, but now it's extra sliding boards and things for the kids on that park. But for us, it was just open field. So, it's just adapting to them changes like that.
It's like a culture shock for them.
That's what I'm saying. It's a culture shock.
So in those neighborhoods with the gentrification, how do you think the people, well, let me change that. Let me ask you, in your opinion, I want to say white people who are coming into the neighborhoods, why do you think they feel so comfortable, even though the neighborhoods are known to be dangerous or gang ridden? Why do you think they feel comfortable?
Because you have to know that they started with, like, the local hospitals and probably schools, and offering the new residents to those people. You see what I'm saying? So the teachers are familiar with the kids from the neighborhood, and the doctors is closer for them to even walk to work. So that's really how they, covered it up with the gentrification. And it's like, oh, this is a new area for doctors, and and the average person gonna be like, oh, okay, well, they doctors, this is where the doctors live, and they make you feel like you can live amongst the doctors if you was a Section 8 client that didn't have felonies.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So they allow a lady that's probably on Section 8 that's 59 to continue to live there amongst the new people.
That makes a lot of sense. I've never heard anyone explain it that way. They're already familiar with the area because they've worked there. So I would like to ask you some more questions about gangs. You have gang experience. Before I have you touch on that, would you specifically compare for us, is there a difference between West Coast gangs, Chicago gangs, East Coast gangs, as far as how they function and how they behave with each other?
Yeah, you gotta say yes, because of course there's three. You got the West Coast, the East Coast, the Midwest, and everybody got a different upbringing. Something like the form of hip hop brung everybody together. So now you had New York being a fashion district, and being behind a lot of the fashion brands that came out. It spread it through marketing and hip hop, so everybody almost around the world was wearing FUBU, and if Run DMC wore Adidas, everybody started wearing Adidas. Slick Rick, if he wearing Todd One, so it's like people looked at the hip hop artists for style, dress, for culture. Or some form of entertainment, but majority of hip hop artists, So just like with the gangs, Chicago being the birthplace of street gang organized crime, we got a certain code of ethics that we go by. You see what I'm saying? And then it's like everybody else was an offspring of us. So because ours was structured as an organized crime and ran like the mob, people that really didn't want to go against, didn't want to stick with the guidelines or follow the rules and regulations, they do like a spinoff. So therefore, it's like not governed by nobody, So when for us growing up to hear like how, just say in L.A., certain Crip gangs was getting into it with each other. That was unheard of for us to be getting into it with each other because there was a consequence behind it. So we looked at it like, man, they had a lot of freedom, to do such thing. But as far as the East Coast, it's like they took to be a part of the West Coast street gangs. And it's, of course, in Brooklyn and throughout the East Coast as well, they took after some Chicago organized crimes. So, either way, anywhere you go, like it was documented, like Gangsta Disciples was in 35 states. You know what I'm saying? And abroad and in certain places, like certain members made it to the White House when this was unheard of, And even though it was like considered like a retired member, but that member still stood for the whole, so that gave us something to look forward to. So with stuff like that start happening, they came at the hierarchy of the organized crime, the feds, and dismantled them. So now you have the outcome of today, the offspring of these leaders, the great-grandchildren and the grandchildren of the leaders are spiraled out of control. Okay. Because it's like you trying to survive in a penitentiary and you trying to run a household, it's going to be friction. It's not going to run how you want it to, because once a person feel like you're not physically there, they don't feel nothing. Like, okay, daddy, you not here, so I ain't worried about no whooping, and then mama, new boyfriend, a new husband or whatever, I'm going to be rebellious to him. You know, he ain't my father. So a lot of kids going to relate to that. Like, this ain't my father. Even though this new guy, working class guy, you know, driving trucks or whatever, and he supplying the food, clothing, and the shelter for you. And that's, at least you can do is acknowledge him and thank him for that. But for some odd reason, kids just rebel.
Right. Definitely. You know, before I move on to, I was going to ask you some questions about single parenting, but I want to still go back to you mentioning hip-hop, tying all different, the gang culture, hip-hop music and fashion. Would you say that fashion and hip-hop are the glue that brings all of the different, gangs together?
Not bringing gangs together, it brought people together as a whole, you know, and the gangs, the gang members had members that was into hip hop. Right. So now what happened for that gang member / artist, it gave him or her a fan base already. So when you see a lot of these dudes, you notice gang banging became very popular in hip hop because it's thousands of members in certain gangs. So therefore, them gang members is going to support you. You see what I'm saying? So, and as a true gang banger, true gang member, true organized, being a part of an organized crime, you're going to take that as disrespect. Right. If the person is seen to be only doing it or trying to join that gang for the better benefit of themselves.
As far as their art, as far as pushing themselves as an artist, I would like to talk to you about the gang member, well, I shouldn't say gang members, the up-and-coming artists in Chicago. I don't know a lot about it, but I'm sure you do. How they are coming up, and what I've seen, just from the little bit I look at, is when they start to come up, it's like, boom, they're dead. Why is it going that way, especially for those artists in Chicago?
Because we have a genre of music called drill music. So that drill music is spoke upon off the hardship in the neighborhood, which it used to be called gangster rap. Now for us, it's called drill music. So within that is street issues and things that's going on in the streets that spills over onto the wax. And then once it spill over to the wax and videos, it comes back to the street because now you didn't put this hardship out to the world. So it's considered a sign of disrespect on a big platform. So now everybody fighting to get a bigger word back, or as we say, get our lick back. You know what I'm saying? So it's still a form of battle rap, but it just spill over into reality.
So it's real battle. You know, I'm still on gangs because the culture it's in our culture as people, the gang experience. Would you say that gangs have a potential to really benefit our people if they could just change the negativity? Do you think there are power structure amongst us if they could really get organized and, you know, be more for the people?
In some cases, the guy that has rule and leadership, he even had a rule and leadership from running it with an iron fist. So it's kind of like soon as he decide to get knowledgeable or conscious about life and himself, it's once again, it's a culture shock because it's like, okay, we known you for shooting, killing, stabbing, fighting, and now you saying don't shoot, don't fight, don't stab. You see what I'm saying? So it's like it's in their mind, they looking at it like reverse psychology. You see what I'm saying? So
when you say reverse psychology, the
because you basically watch me or help raise me to be this as they say, savage and criminal, and now you want to decriminalize me. So it's like, what if I ain't ready yet? You see what I'm saying? Or I'm so conditioned from what I've been doing for all these years, and now you trying to change that, and everybody not going to accept that well.
You know, speaking about a brother who goes from living the life of the gangs and the violence, like yourself, and then you go and you're positive and conscious, would you say that that is a more profound brother compared to someone who has never seen that life but also is conscious? What's your take on that? For me personally, I would say that because you see both sides, you, a brother like you, would be more profound in your consciousness because you can relate. But what is your take on that? Can you tell us?
I mean, basically a person that finds themselves for the better, naturally you're going to want that for everybody around you. And that's where it starts. So soon as you have that drive to say, listen, no more of this way of living over here, I want to go the righteous way, now you're going to start linking with like-minded people. And once that spread, because it's just like this, you stop hanging out in the projects and you hanging out in the library. So people in the projects, they notice that. So they saying, okay, he don't want to be over here dealing with this no more. So they automatically either going to, one, just let you go ahead about your business and go that route, or get upset and feel like you abandon them and will try to cause you harm because of that. Wow. But for the most part, depending on the person, you know, they can say, hey, man, you know, we getting in trouble. You know, we hear about our mothers and fathers and family members that can't help us with bail. So I thought that I'm going to go over here in this library and learn about criminal justice and try to further and get a degree. So that way, if any of us over here get in trouble, I can come fight for us, and y'all know y'all can trust me because I come from where y'all come from. And then now he'll have all the protection in the world. You see what I'm saying? And maybe have a lot of people pitching in, sending them off to school, helping them pay for his books and all that, because now he becomes an investment. Right.
So he can lose trust, and some people will lose trust, but a lot of people will invest and he'll gain trust. Right. So a brother, talking about incarceration, many of our brothers are incarcerated, like you said earlier, leaving their families behind. Can you speak to us about mass incarceration and what your opinion is on that?
Yeah, for the brothers and sisters. And it's like you never really witnessed how the government dismantled the melanated group of people, because it's like when the Italians was getting swept, they wives kept their jewelry, the houses. So it's like, what kind of peace treaty that y'all was able to make that we didn't get a chance to make? When they come for us, they taking everything from us, everything. So, you know, they were spoke upon like they said, hey, if y'all do that to our families, we gonna rain terror on y'all family. So maybe because our leaders didn't oppose that same threat, they just continue to do what they do to us.
Right. So we were more docile.
Yeah.
I mean, why do you think it's like that with our people? Why is it so hard for us to have solidarity and loyalty compared to Italians and the so-called Jewish people and even the Hispanics? Why is it so hard for us to have solidarity? And now I know this is just a broad, really deep question, but I want to hear from you, JoJo Capone. Why do you think it's so hard for us to be loyal and have that strength together with each other?
I mean, of course you're going to blame the Willie Lynch theory and letter again, because it was passed down through generations, you know, from the house Negro to the land, to the field Negro. You know, the house Negro told, he snitched on everything. Anything, he was master's watchdog. You know what I'm saying? So it's been going on for forever, basically. You know, so
you agree? I've said this before. We're still under a slave program.
oh, for sure, yeah, and it's like nobody is staying focused to get that grip off of us. You know, I've been in talks with the politicians during this election time to help me get my governor pardon, and with that, I explained to them, like, okay, whatever work in the communities that's needed of me, a part of that work is helping me get these paper shackles off of my brothers and sisters. So it's not just about me getting my governor pardon and then like forget everybody else. I want to get my governor pardon so I can allow them to know that, look, we got a second chance of life. Now let's do the righteous thing from this point on, because we done the wrong things and we seen where it got us. So now we have enough knowledge and we focus, get them paper shackles off you, and let's put something together. So as a collective, you got to come together. So if everybody is not having a power struggle, we can win, you know. And I actually spoke with Sinetta on a previous interview about that, like getting a lot of brothers that have different ideologies together, you know, and he's told me that he tried that, but we want to keep encouraging it until it happens, because we need to see it, you know. Like Sinetta has one of the biggest platforms for the melanated people to get all types of knowledge all around the world, you know. So we hold him on a high pedestal because we don't want him to get sidetracked, you know, because people gravitated to him for the knowledge that they bring. So now it's like, okay, the debates is great, the different views is great, even the way people express themselves. You know, yes, some be more passionate than others, you know, and then it's like, it's sad because people are doing these debates and it's fun, it's for like fundraisers, like money is being raised. So now you wonder, is everybody looking for everything as a hustle? So we got to get a lot of them stigmas off of us. Like I told Sinetta, like, listen, the type of knowledge you bring into us, you supposed to get compensated for that. Some will feel, because I watched plenty of interviews where people will say, well, why are you asking for donations and this and that? Well, how you think it's going to get to California? Walk. Like, it takes money. So if I'm bringing you news and I'm bringing you some informative information, especially for us, and it's helping other coaches as well, everybody tuned in to Sinetta TV. And they learning something, you know, interviewing and doing something with the brother Tariq Nasheed, and him putting out Hidden Colors series, volume 1 through 4, and the 1804 Haitian documentary. I made sure I supported and bought all of them. You know, it opened my mind far as names and people who done what. You know, who was behind this. Like, you know, Alexander Pushkin, Black Amor, that taught the Russian language. Like, we would have never knew that. Where they teach that at? You see what I'm saying? And how he was on a coin, you know, and being in the motherland, you're able to see a lot of images of brothers and sisters on the currency. We have yet not been able to see that in America.
You remember when they were talking about the Harriet Tubman?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. And it's like, is that happening because Hidden Colors got out the way that it did? Like, a lot of stuff we do have an incredible impact, and that was my thing to Tariq. Like, man, why didn't we get the Oprahs and the Jay-Z's and the Birdmans and the Magic Johnsons? Because with Magic Johnson theaters, like, why we need that in the movie theater? Right. You know, everybody might don't have a DVD player. And even though it been out, I feel like it should be re-released every year. Because our generations need to know this. Somebody going to miss it. Somebody had to work. So I guess that's something we would have to try to talk in existence, you know, to get him to try to re-release it. So that's something that we can work on as a whole, because we got a voice, we have platforms now. So now I feel like we need our own YouTubes. We just need our own everything. We understand that guidelines and this and that. Is it FCC regulations? So we can explain what those regulations are to the community. So therefore, when you're interviewed or whatever, to stay inside them guidelines. You see what I'm saying? And now let's focus on the bigger picture. So I know at one point Master P was into telecommunications and all that. I don't know if Byron Allen, I know he was doing something, but we need our people to get into that tech world more so we can create and come up with our own YouTube and own television networks and all of that. I seen some brothers from the Nation of Islam. They have a page on Instagram, but I don't know the name of it, but it's like a complete network, so, we just need to do for self, basically.
Right, and I totally agree with you. What do you say to the naysayers or people who have tried to do these things, but then there's the government or, the enemy always trying to knock it down, like, Black Wall Street? How do you encourage brothers and sisters who are like giving up?
Will never give up. And it's like fight for the cause, stand for something, to fall for anything. We definitely need to revisit the Black Wall Street plan that was set out for us and never let that die. So I just saw something on Instagram where some melanated families bought some large masses land in Georgia, and they building it like that. And I actually had a conversation with a young brother, Wilson Chandler, or Chandler Wilson, sorry brother for messing your name up. He an athlete, he a basketball player. He actually played for the Knicks. And me and him is in conversation. He was actually supposed to meet me here, but he left the day before I got here. And he been doing some things with the new Black Panther Party and, street organizers and activists as well. So he called on me to ask me about some things, and we was just chopping it up, and I was telling him, what I always wanted to know or ask athletes like himself that might get them $100 million checks. I was like, well, he's from Michigan, so I was like, well, why wouldn't you go buy up a lot of land and just say Gary, Indiana or something, where the taxes is cheaper, and put your whole family inside of that community, and then continue to do that like that? But I don't know, that was just an idea that I had. That's something that I would do, because when we say we don't want our kids to become caught up in the streets, if we build a community for ourselves, basically like the Amish, I guess, right? Or really take it back to our roots of the motherland and build us some villages,
Excuse me, I agree with you on that. Have you heard about a lot of our people going back to Ghana and buying land? What do you think about that?
I mean, it's a great thing to do, because Ghana, Senegal, a lot of places in the motherland, they do naming ceremonies, and you got access to land. It's actually like $1 billion statue that I think came to mind that actually the Asians donated, and it's a statue of a man, woman, and child facing to the west, saying, come back home. So it'd be 3-1 in the motherland at times, with the Asians there knowing their roots, saying like, birthplace of civilization was right here in the motherland. So they there to get the knowledge as well. But of course, everybody takes stuff as they go, but they like probably the only group of people that done the most for us in the motherland.
Who, Ghana?
No, the Asians.
When you say Asians, specifically, do you mean?
The Chinese, for the most part, because they the biggest. They got all the money and everything. So, they do a good trade embargo with us. You know, like if the people in the motherland teach them how to farm, you see what I'm saying? It's certain things that can be grown in the motherland that can't be grown in China. So they ship and stuff. And now what China was doing, when I was just in Ethiopia, they donated a lot of bulldozers. So as they donated the bulldozers and other things, but they donated the bulldozers, and in exchange, they were saying, just give us a piece of this land, you know, piece of this area over here. So that's what you're seeing going on, like in Jamaica right now. The Chinese then basically bought up Jamaica. Wow. You know, well, they Asians, because see, we keep saying Indians, like people from Indonesia, that's Asia. So a lot of people. Yeah, that's what I said. They give it, but they doing like a trade embargo. They trading, they sending them the tools to build and everything over there, the bulldozers and all that, but for some property. Like, we'll send y'all or give y'all everything y'all need, but we need some land, so we gonna live amongst each other. Everybody else focus is separatism. So what I would say, they didn't somewhat seem to show or have a problem with integration. You see what I'm saying? Because they wouldn't ask for the land and intertwine with us if they hated us or something, you know.
Wow. I want to talk to you about this, because this is a very different perspective I've heard from one of our people. Most of our people complain about the Chinese presence in Africa. But you are coming from a different perspective and speaking about the positivity of it. But can you also tell us, do you think that there is a lot of issues with racism from the Chinese toward Africans?
I mean, as you seen online, you seen some, but it's some, like when I was in China, in Asia, all throughout Asia, mainly like China, some parts of Japan, they was running up to me to take pictures with me. It'll trip you out, because you don't know if they about to mob you, because there's so many, you don't really know what's about to go on. But I didn't fear whatever was going on, but it's actually was running to me to say and begging, like, could take picture. So, you know what I'm saying? So I know I'm all over Asia in pictures. And when they come, even when they came to Chicago for Taste of Chicago, it was pictures sent to me riding my motorcycle
In China?
In China. You know, from people taking their pictures back there, and they sent it.
You know,
screenshot it that too, and put it and reposted it, like, you know. But they like, to me, they show they under them like they jurisdictions is different. Like, they not able to do so much. So when they travel abroad to get away from that regime they under, you see the communism, you see that they normal people, caring and loving people. You know what I'm saying? And then just like with anywhere else, it's not their fault that they don't care to want to buy Benzes and Bentleys and all that. They taking the money they get, they buying the property, they making nail salons, Chinese food store. They bringing their culture to our communities. And in a way, you can look at it like, okay, if they want to give us soul food, you might get tired of soul food. I don't want to eat greens and ham hocks and neck bones and whatever else every day. So now I'm able to try what the Chinese culture is like. So that's really what they was trying to do, to say for America, it's the home of the free, and everybody is welcome here. So everybody try to flee here for those purposes. And then you can't get upset that they do the right things with their money.
So really, this is a very refreshing point of view from a melaninated person, because there is a lot of tension, you know, in the neighborhoods where they do come in and they make their places of business. But I think that, because I've been in other countries as well, I'm just going to ask you, I'm making a statement to lead up to what I'm going to ask you. When they're in their countries, I agree with you, you know, they're not they see you as a celebrity, like black people are so amazing. But when they get here, they become, prejudiced.
You call Americanized. Okay. That's what they become. And it's because they can give off what they see. Okay. So, I done been amongst our people, just say like in Minnesota, and I'm in a movie theater. Okay. And due to the different cultures of not using deodorants and perfumes, I'm hearing people scream out, "Oh man, these musty Africans, y'all stink, y'all need to wash up." And I was a guy that spoke up. I said, how about if you go over to where they from and you stink to them? Because they don't have that perfume and cologne and right. I said, so you ever thought that if you go over there, but they don't care to go there because the media, they made it like America is the place to be. Forget everywhere else.
But JoJo, that is a point though, because they do feel that we smell.
Exactly.
Good.
Right.
I did it many times when I get in the car or one of their cabs and run. They roll the windows
was down. Exactly.
And they looking around. So yeah, they think we stink.
Right.
Because they're not used to that smell.
Exactly.
They're used to the smell that
the nature and they regular perspiration, regular sweating. That's what they used to. They, in some spots, if it's third world, they washing up in wells and little rivers. So, I
want to talk to you about that then. In your travels, have you seen what some people call, this is kind of a gross question, but I want to talk to you about it, the flying toilets and how they have limited amount of facilities to...
There's holes in the ground. It's just regular holes that you did. And you squat on that hole and go.
So when they get here, a lot of people have a big aversion to them because they don't know how to...
It's adaptation. You have to adapt. So they adapt into the soap and certain things like that that's over here. It's a learning process. Even if they come and during a teenage or adulthood, they having to learn what is this for. You see what I'm saying? They call it Americanizing. They have to Americanize themselves and say, okay, they use deodorant. Okay, they use soap.
They use regular toilets.
Exactly. And they use these toilets. So they looking just like in Europe. You have the two sides, one to sit on and one to stand up over. So,
Mr. Capone, hearing that you grew up in the projects and now you're a world traveler, in my opinion, it seems like it would be crucial for someone to be able to experience other cultures, to be able to have such compassion that you have. Now, with that said, how can someone with limited finances and growing up in poverty be able to have the experience that you had to come to the mindset that you're in?
Well, you can go step by step, save your money, and take a trip at a time, which they call bucket list. So you can work, save your money up, and go like that. And other than that, we have TV, movies, and the internet, so you can live vicariously through things or people.
Vicariously through celebrities?
Through celebrities, for the most part, that do the traveling, or news people. You know what I'm saying? Journalists. Journalists travel the world to report their news.
So, if they live vicariously through them, how are they going to get that same experience of actually being around the people, learning the people's culture?
I mean, you can see it and visualize it, but that's going to be up to you to, once again, save up your money and make them your goals on your bucket list. And then you can be amongst the people. But for the most part, every time I post pictures or videos when I'm traveling abroad, I get tons of comments and response like, I ain't never got to go. I've been. You make me feel like I've been there because I'm a person that's amongst them. So they living vicariously through me. And they more than comfortable because I'm showing them and doing the things that when you do travel, some either scared to do or, from just think like riding elephants and camels and in the cage with tigers, stuff that certain people would never do. I'm doing it.
Have you ever ridden a camel?
Yes.
Elephants?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you about the tiger.
Yes. Stood in the cage with the tiger. Wrestled with the alligators. Swam with the sharks. I done it all. The only thing that I didn't do, that was the last thing, was swim with the dolphins, and I finally done that.
Okay, and I've done that actually.
It felt like wet silk or something.
But I've done the dolphin thing, not the tigers and
Sharks, yeah.
Just a moment.
Now, come on, JoJo. Come on, JoJo Capone, man. You went in the cage with a tiger or a lion or something like that. You know, they jump to their natural habitat. They jump to their natural mind a lot, where they end up turning on their own master. Have you ever saw anything like that? What would make you do something like that, man? What would make you do something like that?
As I say, being from them projects, you done experienced so much. You done seen some of the worst in front of you. So now, as a child, animals be like a first love to children. You know, our cartoons, our characters, our coloring books is characters of animals. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, as an adult, if you have enough courage, you would do it. Like a person that's just scared of flights. You know, so you got some people that never go places unless they drive, you know, or take the train.
Sure.
Thank you. Now, are you familiar with Brother Antoine in Harlem? As I'm listening to you, how you say brothers love animals, he raised 2 tigers in the projects on 142nd Street, Adam Clayton Powell. Not only 2 tigers, but he has also raised a crocodile. In the projects, brother. No. No. But think about it. In the projects on the 12th floor, the only way they found him, he was a baby. He came in with him as a baby, but he grew so big. One day, he opened the door to come outside. I live on 141st. He's on 140th. I took my camera out there. The whole SWAT came out. They had to get him through the window. They couldn't go through the door. So they climbed up through the window, yeah, and they shot him through the window with the tranquilizer. But what I'm saying is, no, what happened is how he got caught was when he opened the door to go out, there was a cat in the hallway. And the tiger immediately jumped into his instincts and went for the cat. The owner, Brother Antoine, you can look it up. We can all look it up. If y'all brothers look it up now, you'll see it. Look it up. And the tiger, the tiger grabbed him, and when he was trying to bite the cat, he bit his shin, the whole joint, so he had to go to the hospital. That's what got him caught. He's in the hospital, and they like, what happened? Yeah, it bit the owner, but not on purpose, by accident, because he was trying to save the cat. So he ran to the cat, and when he went like that to bite him, he bit his shin, right here. The whole leg was ripped with one bite, bro.
But I want to ask you some questions about back here at home. I mentioned that I wanted to talk to you about single-parent homes. Talk to us about why you think it's such a phenomenon that so many of our brothers are, walking away from the families, their families.
Well,
besides the ones who are incarcerated.
Right. But it was a sister that broke it down very adequately about what Section 8 was about. And it was like no man can live in a house and all that type of stuff. And, of course, if they hurried up and put felons on majority of everybody, legally and illegally, it allowed them to say, hey, you either get this low-paying rent and raise your children, but no man can be in that. Now it's like no other culture ever experienced that. That they ripping the families apart. So it's by design, systematic racism. And actually right now, they I think they reversing that and taking that out of where they can't do that.
You mean the government is making changes to the Section 8 rules?
Yeah, it's something like that going on.
Who do you think is working better or harder at that, the Democratic Party or the Republican Party?
I'm not sure because I don't really get into the political races like that and what's going on. I just wish we can get a person that's a people's person that really just want them betterment for our people, for people, period. You know, so if we can get the next 20, 30, 50 years, 100 years of that, then that'll be a culture shock as well, because now it won't be self-inflicted wounds upon each other. And you see what I'm saying? So once you change something drastically like that, you can adapt and know how it feels to be raised in certain places, like in the motherland, like during a time of prayer. If you got $100,000 laying on the table, you walk in the mosque or wherever you're going for prayer, and you come back, your 100,000 still there. You could never do that over here. You see what I'm saying? So I witnessed things like that meant the world to me. You know, because you can barely park your car outside your house without somebody breaking your windows or stealing your hubcaps. So you telling me you can leave anything of value and it's still there when you return from prayer?
Right. And would you say that is because our people have experienced slavery and just the oppression compared to other people out of other countries who haven't experienced the slave trade?
No, I just think it's the way someone was raised. You know, we was raised, if it's not yours, don't touch it. Look, but don't touch. You know, we got a lot of slogans, but did we abide by them? Some did, some didn't.
That goes back to that whole solidarity and unified loyalty across the board, right?
Right.
Okay, so let me ask you, going back to the idea, I know you said you don't get in politics, but I really want to know from your perspective, do we deserve reparations? What do you think about ADOS?
See, I guess they trying to figure out, they having a problem with giving reparations to the descendants of those that was enslaved. And it's like they purposely tore up a lot of documents and got rid of a lot of stuff to how do you supposed to know, you know, where you come from or what tribe. And actually Sonetta told me that he done his 23andMe. So he got his back quick. Mine taking like 3 months for some reason. And I just got my thing now. They emailed and it said another 4 weeks, I think. 2 to 4 more weeks on top of whatever. I mean, I don't know. I guess because I'm anxious and I probably only done it 3 weeks ago. But it seemed like 2 months already. I really want to know like what's going on.
Now, why is it? Why? Yeah, tell us.
I mean, because like I say, we know we a lost tribe of people. So you want to know, you know, if now you finally have something else that can bridge you and put you in place with your bloodline, that's important.
I agree completely. You want to have that connection because we're a lost people. I think, and I want to ask you to talk about this, a lot of us are running around trying to claim this, claim that, because we have that missing in our history. Talk to us about what you would say to a brother who maybe is still calling himself black, because I know you're not with that. I do want you to touch on that. So talk to us about a brother who's like, well, I'm black and but I'm an Israelite, or just people who are trying to find out who they are. Speak on that. And
that's where that DNA testing can come in handy at, because, you know, other than that, it's like you'll just be a melanated brother or sister and you identify with that group of people, maybe because you like how they carry themselves. Okay. You know, in some cases, being Muslim is fashionable. You know, just because you see the look where I want a bald head and a beard, you know, and you doing and dressing as it's still a motherland, but even though separatism come in place again, they want to call it the Middle East. So, you know, you want to dress like those of the Middle East, you know. So it's like if you in America, so you got the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, his ideology came into place as we're going to wear bow ties and suits, you know, and take on the name, you know, of Muslim names, but not so much of all of the culture. You see what I'm saying? And you got some people that want to feel like, once you spoke on earlier about gangs, if you're going to join the gang, you got to do any and everything that gang was brought up on. You can't put your twist on it. And that's basically how some Muslims would treat the Nation of Islam, like, and want to somewhat call them a radical because they're not Sunni. You know what I'm saying? But
they're not really. We create our own type of culture, right?
Correct.
Is that a good thing?
It's a good thing. Like, you know, you don't have to be religious to agree to a lot of ways of certain religions. If it help you better yourself in life, cool. You can take some pieces from here, some pieces from there, some pieces to there, if that makes you complete.
A lot of brothers do that when they're incarcerated, correct?
Yeah.
With Islam.
Yeah. Everything else too, you know.
So what do you think about people saying, you know, we are not, how do you say it? We're not, well, you say it, we're not black, and then other people saying, getting upset about that. I'm trying to, I was hesitating because I know you don't like saying that, but there are black people that really pride themselves in saying, you know, I'm black, and
that's cool because you had James Brown say I'm black.
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
That nature, but see, once again, it still get tricky because we speaking the language right now of our colonizers.
Well, see,
and we identify with what our colonizers identified us as. I come to Sinetta TV to hear from the scholars and the elders before me to tell me what we really should be acknowledged as. So I spoke to a brother from Ethiopia, and I was asking him what was Ethiopia basically called, or the motherland called originally, and he was saying Abyssinia, and then Sinetta corrected me on Alcubule. So it was Alcubule, the Garden of Eden. We say the motherland, Abyssinia. You see what I'm saying? So I was to Sinetta, so why don't we be considered Abyssinian Americans? Like, if we got all this technology and all this stuff, what's the problem with these scholars? And when I watch Sinetta TV and he doing an interview, the questions I be want to ask them scholars, because we learned a lot and we still haven't learned a lot, because they'll still get on there and say, yeah, us as black people, like, come on, y'all scholars, y'all should be speaking how I'm speaking.
See, that's what, yeah.
Like, y'all scholars. And it's like, so don't keep addressing us as that. Give us something to be proud of, to say that we are.
Well, okay, so I was, yeah, okay. I just want to finish up because that's why it's such a touchy subject. I was stammering because so many.
So it don't keep being touchy. Okay. We not learning nothing. Okay. And when people getting on there with all this knowledge and they debating, they get sidetracked.
And they get upset. They take it very personally.
I'm glad Sinetta been inviting me on to oppose these questions, and hopefully these same scholars that was on prior is able to come fix what I'm asking.
I hear you, brother.
JoJo Capone, me and you spoke about this topic about being black and stuff like that. Now, we know that black have been taught to us, we've been taught to hate our blackness. we use the term black as a political term. Just like when the white man came out with white power, white power, white power, with the skinheads and with the Nazis and with the KKK. So we came out with an opposing force, and we would say black power. There's a man by the name of Udick Riggs. He started black power. Kwame Ture is the one that coined the term. You familiar with Kwame Ture? He's the one that coined the term black power. So he didn't start it. It came from a brother by the name of Riggs during the time of the 60s.
Yeah. You see how you found out that information?
Yes.
And how informative that was of who coined it,
yes,
and who came with the phrase. Let's do the same thing for our culture.
Right.
Who are we?
Let me get it.
You see what I'm saying?
That's a question that we are still looking for, because we as a people have the biggest identity crisis in the world. When I say that, look at us. We are Muslim, we Hebrew, we Christians, we 5%er, we Masons. We are everything out there, because we are still trying to find out who we are. If we come across brothers that's Muslim, they'll say, nah, brother, you're a Muslim. And you say, what you mean? They'll tell you everything in life is Muslim. Cut it out. Stop playing. When you go amongst the Hebrews, they'll say the same thing. Nah, brother, you're a Hebrew, brother. Well, how you know I'm a Hebrew? Brother, that's our culture. That's our nationality. Everybody got to be a Hebrew. When you go amongst the Christians, everybody tell you we Christians, because we are still trying to find out who we are. We ain't going to never know. You know why? Because I could tell you this. We are the oldest people in the world, and our existence go way beyond. There are earths that's not even uncovered yet, places that we don't even know about, animals that we have never even seen before. I see that.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't want to be considered no political term. I want to be considered who I am. So, one thing I do know, scientifically speaking, we the most melanated group of people. So I'm gonna consider myself a melanated man. And as I say, until further notice.
But we have never had a plebiscite where all the greats come amongst us and go into a room and say, you know what, we decide that we're going to be this, or we're going to call ourselves that. As far as us going all the way back into history and we coming up with something, like Jesse Jackson is the one that called us African Americans. Did that come from Jesse? Yeah, I seen you in the picture with Jesse too.
Yeah, I just saw him. I just saw him at the Cook County Jail.
Good.
But as I was saying, it's like, as I was saying, it's funny. I was just clicking on my Instagram. So shout out to Birdman, because I see he posting a picture of a bunch of Rich Gang chains. So I'm coming to get mine. So on Sonetta TV, I'm coming to get my Rich Gang piece. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna show you. So I meant to say, I just want the brothers, the elders that's still here, man, to put some closure to a lot of stuff. We got the brother Dane Calloway, as I spoke on before, that say we natives of here. We never been to Africa, this, that. So I want to see Dane Calloway's 23andMe and see what it say with him. You see, so it's stuff that we can speak on to each other, to where it's that it don't just got to be us clashing. You see what I'm saying? So it's for him to back up, we been here, this and that, our people ain't been in no Africa and this and that. Take that 23andMe. Now you're going to say it's rigged up and all this. But when them people is linked to him through his DNA, so you can't say ever the world did not evolve.
But you've been through the doors. You've been through the doors of no return. You put your foot in Gory Island. You walked in the dungeons. So if we always been here, this is why I be catching people. They sound so crazy to me. If we was not from Africa, and a lot of us ain't come, the Hebrews will tell you, we all from West Africa. We come from West Africa. Look at the slave ships. You telling me that all of this stuff is not real? Now, we know the amount of people that came here, that we know the numbers was exaggerated. We do know that. But I guarantee you, your bloodline will take you all the way back to West Africa, brother.
You say you're still waiting?
Yeah, I need that.
Say So 23andMe, get this man's results back.
Mine, Ancestry. I did Ancestry. I did.
Find out through the computer.
Yeah, I done Ancestry.com.
Okay.
Okay.
So you mean that graph?
On the computer.
That graph?
They're
Yeah.
not gonna send you.
I know. I be watching them on YouTube too. Like, you know, they show that of people when they was like, "What you think you are? You look like this," and then when they report come back, they be like, "Wow!" Like the people that's lighter skin be having more
African?
Abyssinian.
Oh, I'm sorry. So you don't say African either?
No, because Sophos Africanus is where Africa name come from. There's somebody is saying he once again colonizing. He ain't colonized nothing.
You know what, JoJo? I'm gonna do something for you, brother.
Please, brother.
I'm gonna set up an interview.
Please.
With you and Professor James Smalls.
Perfect.
You know who James Smalls is?
Yes, sir. I watch him faithfully. Please, I watch him. I want to, man, and I know and how he lays so smoothly, and I'm gonna absorb it like a sponge. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, as soon as I get back home,
Because I know he got all the resources, just like the brother. Was it who gave Minister Farrakhan them books? All his books. That was Dr. Ben. See how important that was, and you see why. And out of all these other people, who he give it to? That because because he felt that he know he's for the people, just like we was just saying about politicians and all that. Whoever's for the people. So he know that all these years of work that I've been doing, this brother would be the one that I leave it to, and I would love for the minister to start putting that in motion right now while he's still here. You know, put some. And if I get a chance to see him again, I'm sure gonna bug him about it. He know I bug him. He know I bug him just like I'm bugging you about all this. I bug him, man, because I want to know, you know. And he go out his way to tell me stuff.
When the last time you seen the minister?
At his house, at Elijah Muhammad's house, because he always want to correct you, like, this the Elijah Muhammad house. Okay, so at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's house, I saw him, and that picture on there on my page too, if you want to use that. Cause
with the minister?
Yeah, because they start blocking him and all that. Like if you use his name in Facebook, so you see what I'm saying? We need our own Facebooks. Right. You know, it's just we need our own.
You can't even go into where's that at? The UK. Right. They banned them from the UK.
They like Tariq Nasheed. They banned him from over there. Yeah. I was banned out. I was banned out of Canada, but.
Why were you banned from Canada?
Just know I made my way there. You can see that picture too. I definitely made make my way over there.
Was it because of your beliefs?
I don't know what was going on. Well, basically they real strict, you know, and then they say something with felonies. But if you don't have a case over there, what do it matter? But I understand they feel like if I'm a person with a crime sheet or whatever, a record, they don't want me to come with my criminal behavior to their country. So I can understand that, but I made my way over there. Thanks to Harriet Tubman. Long live Harriet.
Yes, long live Harriet.
Smuggler's route. Yeah, it still exists, because you know how if you made your way to Canada, you was a free slave. So that and that ran through Chicago, Indiana, that path that she used and made it to Canada.
I want to ask you about that. What do you think? I don't know. I'm sorry that I don't know all about your philosophies, but when you hear about the rumors, like the Underground Railroad, they say, well, you know, there was some supernatural things going on there. What do you think about the supernatural?
I think anything possible.
Okay.
You know, I feel like she had a lot of heart. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't scared. Like I spoke before about the Tula Revolution. Okay. You know, no, in Curacao. Okay. And the Tula Revolution was the second biggest revolt in history. Okay. After Haiti, it was Tula, and he was a brother, of course, the motherland descent, and he held a revolution in Curacao, and they speak, I think, 4 languages over there.
All right.
Beautiful. Dutch. Oh man, Dutch.
So they have European colonizers, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was another thing. Why do we still have European colonizers to this day? Like, why is stuff still under the British and all this? Like, in 2020, who is to fight to get that back? And I spoke deeply about the brother Muammar Gaddafi, you know, on how he was trying to form all of the resources, natural resources and power of the motherland and make it a great continent. Well, it's still a great continent, but I mean, how it contributed to the world. You know what I'm saying? How they, far as food, you know, all the natural resources come from there. So he basically was going to make basically everybody else become third world countries if they couldn't trade in gold. So it was kind of like, we got to get rid of him.
Speaking of Gaddafi, can you speak to us a little bit about what your views are about the actual slavery going on in Libya right now? Because there's still a slave trade going on.
There's slave trade going on everywhere. It's sex trafficking and slave trade is top thing going on in the world. They just found 39 kids in an apartment in Atlanta, Georgia, in an apartment complex. Like, who not noticing people? If I'm outside in the parking lot right now playing my music loud, every police and their mama gonna pull up to my car just for the loud music. But you telling me 39 kids is being brung into this apartment and nobody is seeing it? Like, it's come on, man. They turn their blind eye on certain things, like just save our children all over. So, I mean, once again, you see how the CIA played a part in everything. The drugs, the COINTELPRO, it's our own government with all these wicked ways, and that's how they rule the world. You know, they cause conflict. They do a lot of, it's a lot of deception. You know, they play a lot of wicked games. And it's like a person with so much knowledge of this stuff, it really would just have you, your outlook on the world is nerve-wracking. You know, it's nerve-wracking because, you know, once you get too loud or speak on certain things, they've shown that once you spoke for the embetterment of our people, you get murdered. So it's like it'll make a person say, well, hey, you know, I ain't speaking on nothing. You know, so when people get in front of these cameras on these microphones and speak, they got some sense of bravery because they know that if you're doing any kind of whistleblowing, you can be losing your life in no time.
Thank you for bringing up that point. I want to talk to you about the Nipsey Hussle situation where he spoke up about Dr. Sebi. And then this is just, you know, these are rumors, but, you know, they seem valid. He started to talk about what happened to Dr. Sebi. He spoke up. He was gone. And then we have other people who are saying that Nick Cannon, he's not gone, but that he was attacked because he started to speak up about certain things. So every time something happens to one of our people, we, you know, start thinking, oh, is it a conspiracy? I mean, how do you feel about that? Do you do that too? Are you considered somewhat of a conspiracy theorist, or do you see that as valid?
I'm a realist. I deal with the facts. You know, like, you know, I would have to actually see or know that this happened because of that. Because Dr. Sebi been here before we was born, doing his practices and everything. He proved himself in the courts. And that was more than enough for me to understand. If he telling me, cleanse ourselves, we not cannibals, you know, I'ma change that. And then it's known that these people getting all these diseases and stuff from these vaccinations and whatever they injecting in these meats, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna rid myself of that.
Right. So you're vegan?
I'm alkaline.
Oh, beautiful.
Dr. Sebi's nutrition guide.
Wonderful. So how long have you been vegan or alkaline, actually?
4 years now. No meat, no seafood, no dairy products.
Right. I heard you speaking about something. Do you have a restaurant or something where you serve? Because you were speaking about that.
I spoke on that, how in my restaurant I wasn't serving no beef or pork. So I was serving turkey products and just having the chefs season it to the taste to where the people didn't know that they was eating turkey. All they know is the food was good and they not gaining no weight. And they wasn't coming back with high blood pressure.
Right, that's a real issue with us, our health. So definitely it's a real pleasure to speak to you. There's so much more I want to ask you, but I'm getting the wrap it up signal. But thank you so much for sharing these stories with us, sharing your wisdom. And if there is anything you want to share with us right now, like what some latest project or what you're up to, please take this time to let the family know.
Well, basically right now, I just wish the better health for our people and overcome this COVID, whether it's a hoax or whatever, because you can get a scratch right now and they're going to say, oh, you got COVID, so beat this pandemic, stay healthy, get them herbs in you, and try to cleanse your mind, cleanse your body, cleanse your soul, and live a healthy life.
Beautiful.
Social media, JoJo Capone, Facebook, Instagram, JoJo Capone, the #1, YouTube channel, Act Like It, ENT, ACTLIKEITENT, and that's it. Twitter, I don't really care for tweet. I don't have that much time on my hands.
All right, brother. Thank you so much. Okay.